My nose itches today for some reason. Okay. So then I need to also Well, I hope more people join the chat, huh? You're always on time. Okay. So we got second period. I'm gonna change this guy, edit. Hopefully I have enough time to do this. And then fourth period. I'm racing the clock here. Hey guys. Good job getting your bell work done. Good job, good job. My times are off. Like one of my computers says 9:14 and one says 9:12, and I'm not sure which one's correct. What time do you guys have right now? Do you have 9? You have 9:12? Okay, that's good to know. I got one more of these, and then we'll go ahead and I guess I guess we won't. We'll wait since it's 9:12. I'm mumbling. My slow computer here. Okay. Y'all make sure you go ahead and do your bell work, okay? Make sure you do your bell work. Bell work, bell work, bell work. Please say hi in chat. Make sure I get you for attendance purposes. Michaela, I miss seeing you in class, by the way. I miss seeing you here. Okay. Got another minute. Be sure you guys go ahead and do your bell work, okay? So I got 13 turned in so far. So make sure you hop over there. Go ahead and open up the assignment too. Okay, so as soon as you get your bell work done, go ahead and open the assignment. So we have a lot to do today. So people who are joining, be sure you do your bell work. Go ahead and open your assignment, okay? So bell work, assignment. Bell work, open assignment. Bell work, open assignment. Okay, so it's 9:15. We're going to go ahead and get started. Your bell work is pretty much just the schedule for this week, okay? So Monday and Tuesday, so today and tomorrow, we are going to review your formatives, okay? So we're going to have a formative on Wednesday and one on Thursday. So the way I might go ahead and give give it to you all in one day. I haven't decided yet, but you're going to have an informational article to do on Wednesday, and then a literary text to do the next day. Okay, so nonfiction, then fiction. So by the way, you guys, go ahead and turn on your cameras so that I know you're here and paying attention. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have realized this at this point, if you've been checking your grades or not, but keep in mind, we don't have a summative yet. Like, we haven't taken one. And so the two formatives you're taking this week are preparing you for the summative. Okay, so we have to make sure that you're ready to take it, because that summative is worth 60% of your grade. Okay, that's a big chunk of your grade. So if you don't pass the summative, I don't think you can pass the course. I'm not positive. I'd have to like calculate how they calculate it here, but it's going to be really difficult for you too. Okay, so those formatives you took are worth 30%. So that's going to help your grade, bring you up. So if you don't do as well in the summative, those formatives will help keep your grade up. The last 10% are just the assignments you do during class, which prepare you for the formatives. So your assignments prepare you for the formatives, and the formatives prepare you for the summatives. Okay? Now the summative exams, the big guys, we haven't taken any yet. So right now, the only stuff affecting your grade are the formative exams and those 10% grades. So that means a formative exam is about 2-letter grades. Okay, so if you don't do either formative, you have an F in here. Okay, there's no way around it if you don't do either of those formatives, because that's like probably about 70% of your grade. Like, I'd have to go in and calculate how much it is without the summative. But as right now, just know if you don't do either of those formatives, you cannot have higher than an F in here. If you only do one formative, you probably have a D in here. Okay, so, and there's no reason for that. So if you do both, even if you don't do well, you should probably have at least a C in here. Okay, so you have to at least attempt them and turn them in, or I don't know why you aren't. Okay, so if you have, I'm not talking directly to you, I'm just kind of trying to make sure everyone's aware of how much these are worth. Okay, and if you did everything perfect, but you didn't highlight or you didn't do the comments, then you only have a 2. And all you had to do is go back in and revise it and put the highlights in or the comments, and your grade probably would have went up to a 4. So I'm not really sure if I'm giving you guys the opportunity to revise your formative, why most of you aren't choosing to do so, okay? Because I'm trying to help you. Because, I mean, it's pretty easy to pass in here and get a pretty good grade as long as you're willing to revise your work and keep learning, okay? Because I'm all about, I just want you to learn in here and get to the point where you've mastered the standard. So that's all I'm going to say, okay? It's just, I can't make you do things in here, but I hope that you can be responsible, okay, especially because you're virtual. So anyway, that's all I'm saying about that. Octavia, I'm not really sure exactly yet when the summative will be. We planned on giving you one this week, but instead we switched it to formatives, okay? So, yeah. Okay, so here is, let's finish up. I've talked a lot about that. But so Monday and Tuesday, we're going to review the formatives, okay? So today and tomorrow. Then Wednesday and Thursday, you're going to have the 2 formatives to take. Now, Friday, you're going to have virtual classes from now on, okay? So, and we'll let you know more about that. I'll let you know when I have more information. I should know more about it Wednesday. So yes, you do need to come to class Wednesday. Yes, you should have your cameras on. You all are driving me crazy not turn on your cameras. But you know expectations for formatives, okay? So have them on so I can see you and I know you didn't fall asleep, okay? But that's about it for the bell work, okay? So let's just roll on, keep trucking. Okay, so your two formulas are going to be the two on the two standards we've been looking at. So RI 8.2 determines central ideas of a text and analyze how they are developed through relationships to key details, citing textual evidence, paraphrasing, or summarizing. So your objective summaries we've been having you do, that's the part where you're paraphrasing and summarizing, okay? Our L 8.2, that is looking at stories and literature, okay? Determine themes of a text and analyze how they are developed through relationships of character, setting, and plot, citing textual evidence, paraphrasing, or summarizing. So, I mean, when you look down on the basic bolts of the two standards, you're pretty much doing the same thing with the informational text and literature text, okay? You're looking for the central idea and the theme. You're just looking at two different types of media. So this is working on the same thing, okay? So we're going to go ahead and define these definitions here, but let's do it together, okay? So you guys get ready to chat, and I want you to help me fill this out. I want you to help me to help you fill this out, okay? So the first key terms are focusing on informational articles. So what is the central idea? Throw it in the chat, and so we can all be on the same page together, okay? What is the central idea? Or I'll start you off, okay? Let me start off. So the central idea, what I would put is it's the author's message or main point, okay? So that is what I would put for the central idea. Author's message, main point. You can also put claim, okay? Okay, so you guys are typing this in, yes? Let me see your heads nod or say yes in chat. You know you're supposed to be filling this out with me, okay? Okay, this is gonna help you prepare for the formatives, okay? So, good. So the central idea, again, is the author's message, the main point of the article, the claim the author's making, all that good stuff, okay? So what are key details? How would you define that? So you guys, you can flip on your mic and say something. It's quicker, or you can put it in chat. So what are supporting, or I'm sorry, what are key details? What are key details? How would you describe key details? Yeah, good, Rachel. So evidence, that's a good short way to explain it, right? There's supporting details, evidence, facts, right? And they're facts that show the author's perspective or the author's opinion, the author's claim. They support the central idea. Okay, so evidence that supports the central idea. So the main things we've been doing is pulling out key details, identifying the central idea. Okay, what about an objective summary? Should you copy and paste objective summaries, or do they need to be in your own words? Your own words, good. And what's the very first sentence? What should the very first sentence in objective summaries be? Yeah, the central idea that supports Okay, so a good way to find the central idea, of course, is when you're going down, you get to the multiple choice questions and you decide this is the central idea, then take that sentence and make it your first sentence in the objective summary. So what should you put for the rest of the objective summary? So what should you put in the objective summary? What should you put in the objective summary? Key details are, okay, well, we already know that we've been looking at key details, right? So how about this? Objective summary. You need to put it in your own words. You need to state the central idea. Then you need to describe the important details that support the claim or central idea. So if you've already picked out the key details, the supporting details, and you know what the central idea is, you should be able to easily write the objective summary. So say what the central idea is, and then tell me what happened in the article giving important details. Okay, so if you think back to the Michael Jordan, we know that it was about Michael Jordan. It happened in like 1978 or something like that. So that's a win. So we need to include the win in here. We need to include the who. Michael Jordan in give the central idea. And then Michael Jordan in 1978, Michael Jordan did this. Okay. So where did it happen? Give the name of the school. Okay. And then what happened? Well, he tried out for varsity, but he only made junior varsity. So why? Well, it was a strategic decision, right? It was based on his size, and they wanted him to be able to develop when he got in the junior varsity. But then he used that to become successful and blah, 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 blah. So you're giving key details. You're saying the who, what, when, where, why, all in your objective summary. In your own words. You don't want to copy and paste. Okay? So you guys are still kind of struggling with that. You got to make sure if it says to write 4 sentences or 5 that you write 4 to 5 and you don't have one run-on sentence. Okay? So Rachel, what's textual evidence? I know you know this. What is textual evidence? Jaden, hold down Control and Z, and it should backtrack and put the stuff back in. Yeah, so it's evidence from the text. So textual evidence is the key details. Okay, they're two the same. Okay, so it's like if you say direct quotes, it's the quotes that come from the text. Okay. Okay, so let's look at literature. What is the theme? What is the theme? Y'all tell me, what is the theme of a story? Yeah, good. The message, moral, or lesson of the story. Yeah, what about setting? What is the setting?
Where it takes place.
Perfect. Thank you. Ooh, I liked hearing that voice. Okay, good. Setting, where the story occurs or where it takes place. What about the plot? What is that? And some of you put that a plot was a conspiracy theory between people. That is not the plot of the story. Okay, that is just someone's plotting against you. It's completely different. So when we're saying plot, we're talking about the events of a story. Okay, so you can kind of say plan, but I want you to understand this is the action that's happening in the story. Okay, so it's the actual events of the story. Okay, so make sure you don't get it confused with like some conspiracy theory that people are plotting against another person or something like that. Okay, so when you're trying to pick out the plot, look for action words, keywords that show action. Well, this person did this. Well, and then this happened, and then this happened. Okay, so what about exposition? What's that? This one's a harder one. What's exposition? No, it's not the ending. That's the resolution. Yeah. Exposition is the beginning. So it's the backstory. It's like what happened before the events even start, before the action starts in the story. So it can be like introducing the characters or introducing the setting. In the story we watched, the Monkey's Paw. Remember at the very beginning, it was showing that Sergeant Major Morris went to India and got the monkey's paw. And then when our story started, though, it was when Morris was at Mr. White's house. Okay, so the entire exposition is before Morris got to the house, because that's when all of our action started. Okay, so the exposition is just introducing stuff they want you to know before the true story starts, before the action starts. Okay, so then what is rising action? What is the rising action and what is it leading to? Good. Yeah, good. So the rising action. So the big major thing that happens in the story, remember, it's called the climax. Okay, so the different events that lead up to it, all of the events, that's part of the rising action. It's when you're building suspense, or we call it tension. It's when like you start feeling some type of discomfort, or you're getting excited, or you feel like something's pending, like you're waiting for something to happen. All these things build up to the climax, okay? And then boom, the big thing happens. And that is what the climax is, okay? It's the main event that we've been waiting for. Please be aware that the climax happens pretty much at the very end of the story, okay? So you're not going to have rising action and then the climax and then have more action leading up to more tension. That is not rising. That's not correct, okay? It doesn't work like a pyramid. It works like this, if you can tell. Like the climax is at the very, very, very end of the story. So almost everything that happens is the rising action up until the big event we've all been waiting for happens, okay? So then let's skip down to falling action then, okay? So does the falling action happen at the beginning of the story or the end of the story? Does it happen before the climax or after the climax? The falling action. Does it happen before the climax with the rising action, or does it happen after the climax, after the rising action and climax happen? The falling action. Haley, what do you think? You look like you're pondering. Does the falling action happen before the climax or after the climax?
After.
Yeah, good. It's after, okay? Oh, sorry guys, I didn't see some of y'all were talking. Sometimes my chat freezes and I have to scroll back up. That was my bad. So yeah, after. So you have all the rising action, right? And it's leading you up and up and up and up. And then boom, you have the climax, the most important thing that happens. And then you fall back down, you go to sleep because it's the falling action, okay? So it's the decreasing tension, okay? So the falling action happens at the very end of the story. It's like tying up the loose knots, okay? So the falling action is not going to be anything super duper important. It would be like at the very end, after these people, if they got in a huge fight and then they finally resolved it, because the climax should resolve the conflict. Okay, and remember, the conflict is just the problem in the story. Okay, so the climax should resolve it. So the falling action then after the resolution is just then they decided to go on a vacation to celebrate making up. Okay, and that would be like the following action. Okay, and then the resolution is the very ending. Okay, so for example, they lived happily ever after. Okay, so the resolution might be that they ended up going to France to relax on vacation because everything was fine. And they lived happily forever after. So that would be the resolution. Okay, so everything has been resolved and it's like the very end of the story. Does that make sense? So the following action connects with the resolution. So you have this huge climax that happens, it resolves. It's what happens that helps resolve the main issue, the conflict. And then it's just tying up the loose knots of the story and it ends. Okay, so following action, it's tying up the loose knots and then it ends at the resolution. So what's the internal conflict? What is the internal conflict of a character? And you can remember internal, inside. Okay, so what is an internal conflict? Remember, conflict means problem. So what's an internal problem in respect to the main character? Either Jaden, tell me what the internal conflict is. Y'all are just kind of, everyone's just sitting there. But Octavion's participating. Camonte. Jaden, you did. Thompson. Octavion. Nevaeh. Hopefully I said your name right. Nevaeh. Rachel. So I need more of you all. Well, it's all the problems are going to be inside the story, but it's inside the character's mind. Okay. So the internal conflict is the struggle within the character themselves. So if you look at the monkey's paw, the character's internal conflict is that if you look at Mr. White, it was whether or not he should use the monkey's paw. Okay, he's been warned about the monkey's paw, but he really wants to make the wish. So what should he do? Kinda, Abigail. So it's the decision that the character has to make. It's usually connected to their emotions. Just like if I kept arguing with my boyfriend, that's an external conflict, because an external one is like extrovert. If you think about that, that's when you're outgoing, so it's out. Okay, so an external conflict is when you have one character who is having a problem with another character or the environment, like an outside source. Okay, so that's external. So if I was having an argument with my boyfriend, that's an external conflict because I'm having a problem with another person. But my internal conflict would be whether or not I should break up with him, because that's a decision I have to make myself within my own mind. And I have to weigh my emotions and what I think is best for me, and I have to come to terms with it. So that's internal because it's a problem inside my mind with my emotions. External, again, is when I'm having a problem with somebody else that's causing, like you're arguing or fighting over who gets the last popsicle or whatever, okay? So if we watch videos and stuff, I'll try my best to post the text for you, which I did. Okay, so if you're not quite understanding a movie or video I'm showing, if I have the text for you to read as well, I will post it. So what I had planned to do for you guys was have you watch the first part of the video, read the second part, and then watch the third part of the video. But I thought that would be too confusing for you. Okay, so we just watched the video. But there are differences between the text and the video, which are really interesting if you want to watch it. But Just a heads up, okay? Okay, so we filled out the chart. Good, right? I don't think we missed anything. The resolution's like the very, very end of it. So the only things that we're looking here when we're trying to describe the plot and what happens and stuff, because all of this stuff here, the exposition, the rising action, the falling action, the resolution and climax, those are all part of the plot, okay? So when we're looking at all this stuff, the only stuff that, let's see here. Let's put it this way. So the climax and the falling action and the resolution, all this happens at the very end of the story. Those three things. Okay? So the exposition and rising action make up the majority. Well, the rising action is what makes up the majority of the story. Okay? You don't have to highlight it. I'm trying to make sure you understand. Okay? So we are going to look at this next article. Okay? So we're just going to start reading it and practice on it. So let's read it and look at key details. Will somebody volunteer to read it? Like just the first paragraph? Good deal. And Shikari, I think I'm not sure which one of you said yes first. So I don't care who's just someone flip on your Octavian. Okay, yeah, go ahead and flip it on and read that first paragraph. I'd love for you to, please. Okay, Shikari, can you go ahead and read the first paragraph, please? Okay, somebody, because I'm sure you all want a break from hearing Miss Chapman talking. So will someone please volunteer and read the first paragraph? Aloud, like out loud. Okay. So you guys follow along, you're being shy, okay? Popular apps, TikTok and WeChat, could soon be disappearing from US smartphones. So I'm going to highlight TikTok. Okay, because I know in WeChat, because I know that that's what the article is going to talk about. And then it's going to be disappearing from US smartphones. So I also highlighted disappearing. So in that first sentence, when I go back to look at it, I know that TikTok and WeChat could be disappearing from US smartphones. Okay. So that is my first highlights that I'm going to be doing. The U.S. Commerce Department said September 18th it will ban TikTok and WeChat from U.S. app stores on September 20th. So here is part of my win. Okay? So it's talking about September. So I'm highlighting that because I know that I need to know the wins of articles. The U.S. government will also add technical restrictions. The move could seriously limit anyone's ability to use the apps in the U.S. Okay, so I'm probably going to add technical restrictions here. And I think I'm also going to add ban. Okay, so there's a lot of information in that first paragraph there, but I kind of color coded it to help me. So I know we're talking about TikTok and WeChat disappearing, that they're going to ban them from stores and there's going to be technical restrictions. And I know that on September 18th, it said it would happen on September 20th. Okay. Both apps are owned by Chinese companies. The order cited national security and data privacy concerns. It believes China could be improperly using data such as personal information from the two apps to spy on US citizens and track their behavior. So WeChat is a text messaging service that people in the United States can talk to people in China, like talk home to their parents and stuff. Okay, so that's what WeChat is. It's kind of like Text Now, or what's the other one that's popular? I can't think of it, but it's different apps, like not quite like Snapchat, but maybe similar, except your stuff doesn't disappear. Okay, so it's just a way for you to communicate with people in China. So what I would probably do here is I would highlight China improperly using data. Okay, and be sure you recognize it says it could be. So you don't want to say in your objective summary that China is improperly using data, because that would not be correct. It says they could be. So let's go ahead and add could. Let's just highlight this whole little part here. Okay. So out of all that stuff in that paragraph, that sums it up. China could be improperly using data. So that's all I'm going to highlight for that little paragraph, okay? The announcement follows weeks of deal making over the video sharing service. President Donald Trump has pressured the app's Chinese owner to sell TikTok's US operations to an American company. Recently, California tech company Oracle had said it would buy TikTok's US business. It is not clear how the latest bans will affect that deal. The deal was done with hopes of satisfying US concerns about TikTok's data collection and related issues. So what do you all think we should highlight here? What's really important if we're boiling it down to the basics? What would you highlight out of that article? I mean, out of that paragraph. Okay, so TikTok. What else? What's important to know out of this paragraph if you were summarizing it? California, good, because that's a location, right? So let's go ahead and highlight Oracle along with it. And I don't know if you know this or not, Oracle owns a lot of video games and stuff like that too, okay? So California tech company Oracle said it would buy TikTok's US business, okay? So let's do that. So what they're trying to say is that Oracle said it would buy this Chinese company so that hopefully that would alleviate people's fears that their data is being stolen. Okay. So for me, I think that's really important. Okay. And we can go ahead and say US business, not just US here. Okay. So those are the keywords to pull out of that paragraph. If you wanted to add Donald Trump in here, you can, because he's pressuring this to happen, okay? So I would probably add that in too, okay? Today, the assignment's under today's date, okay? Yep. So I would say Donald Trump, I would say California tech company Oracle, and I would say buy TikTok's US business. Okay? Okay. So the next paragraph, WeChat has millions of US users. They rely, and here's information you all were warned during about. WeChat, they rely on the app to stay in touch and conduct business with people and companies. The order requires WeChat to end payments through its service as of September 20th. It also outlaws WeChat from getting technical services from vendors that could seriously affect its functions. Okay? So here, WeChat has millions of US users, okay? So they rely on the app to stay in touch and conduct business with people and companies. So WeChat is used to communicate with people in China, okay? The order requires WeChat to end payments through its service as of September 20th, and it outlaws WeChat from getting technical services from vendors that could seriously affect its functions. So yes, it's the review. Okay, we're looking at the review. So if we're trying to figure out in this paragraph what to highlight, I think it is important to know that it has millions of US users. Okay, so I highlighted millions in case I'm trying to remember that later. Okay, but what I think is important down here is, again, if we're trying to think of what they want WeChat to do, one thing that they want it to do is end payments. So if I'm paying WeChat to have its service, they're required to stop accepting payments from me. Okay, because when you're giving people payments, they have your information. And then it also outlaws WeChat from getting technical services. Okay, so I'm also going to highlight technical services because I know what that is what they're restricting WeChat from doing now. So those are the key details I'm going to highlight. Okay, when we scroll down, similar technical limitations for TikTok don't go into effect until November 12th, shortly after the US election. So here's another date. What color were we doing that? Blue. Okay. So September 12th. So that's TikTok's. Okay. Ross said September 18th on Fox News, and I'm not going to highlight that because we get it by now. That access to the app may be possible if certain safeguards are put into place. TikTok says it has 100 million US users and 700 million global. Okay, so that is a lot of people, right? So I don't know if I need to know all that stuff, but I'm going to highlight one point in here in case I need to refer back to it. But I am going to highlight safeguards, and I am going to highlight possible, okay? So, and I'm putting it in a different color. Well, no, I'm not. Anyway, so possible safeguards, okay? So if I'm looking back through here and I see that, then I know I don't get why people would use WEC. I don't know. So WeTalk is just, if you think about it, China doesn't have a lot of, they're very, 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 very strict on anything that people are allowed to use in that country. Okay, and WeTalk is one thing that is allowed in China for them to use. So in order for people to be able to communicate in China, then they really want to use that WeTalk because the people in China can't use other things that we can use. Okay, they have to go on like the black internet in order to try and Google things and stuff like that. China is very, very restrictive on what they allow their people in that country to be able to access outside of China. Okay, yeah. So we have two more paragraphs. Okay, so let's try and do this real fast. Actually, Are you all okay staying here a couple of extra minutes so we can finish these 2 paragraphs together instead of giving you homework? Okay. Okay, so if you leave, I do want you to finish the 2 paragraphs by yourself and figure out what the central idea is, okay? And then tomorrow I'll kind of post it for you. But anyway, WeChat users have sued to ban the stop. Okay, so that's super important. Sued to stop the ban, right? So we know that that's like super duper important. So they sued to stop the ban. A federal judge in California appeared sympathetic to WeChat users in a hearing on September 17th. However, the judge did not issue an injunction, a legal order that would stop the government's action. The U.S. Justice Department said that it would not target WeChat users with criminal or civil penalties for using the app for messaging. The app grabs users' locations and messages and tracks what they watch. The goal, the company says, is to figure out how to best target ads to them. Okay, so isn't that what Facebook does? It tracks what you watch. If you look at something on the internet and then you go into Facebook, then suddenly you have ads for the thing you looked at online. It's like cookies they download. So they're doing the exact same thing here in the US. So what would I highlight? Sued to stop the ban. And I would say did not issue an injunction. Okay. And I would probably say would not target criminal or civil penalties. Okay. So I think that's important to know that stuff out of that paragraph. Last one. Similar concerns apply to US-based social networks such as Facebook and Twitter. Oh, look, we just talked about that, right? So I'm going to highlight that. Similar concerns, Facebook and Twitter. US companies are not usually required to cooperate with their government in the same way as another country. The U.S. administration has provided no specific evidence that TikTok has made U.S. users' data available to the Chinese government. So I'm going to highlight no specific evidence, right? TikTok says it does not store U.S. user data in China. The company added that it would not give user data to the government, nor does it censor videos based on orders from China. Okay, so does not store U.S. user data. I'm adding that. And nor does it censor videos. Okay, so that's what I think is important out of here. So we're kind of given the rebuttal at the bottom paragraph, what TikTok's saying in defense of itself. Okay, yep, Snapchat does too. So this is what I want you all to think about and try to do on your own, the central idea. And then tomorrow, I think I will go through and do this with you through a video. Please watch the video tomorrow so it'll help you understand what I'm looking for the formatives, okay? And I'm going to tell you what the central idea is here, okay? So I'll fill this part out. I'm more concerned with the central idea, but I'll fill this little part out, and in the video, I'll go over it. So be sure you watch it so you know if you're on the right track, okay? But that's it. You guys were awesome today, and we'll get you all that stuff tomorrow, okay? All right. Bye. Bye. Bye.